The degree is the Uranus degree. December 16th. And the following 7 days. If you can take a look on this chart, you see Mars is where I said it was going to be at 5 degrees, right? Still retrograding, still sitting there at 5. There's that Mercury. But even though it's at the 6, so it's trining Mars, it's direct. Mercury is now direct at 6 degrees, but it's connecting strongly with Mars. So that's still trine, still there, still a real thing. And then down here, what's the other fire energy we got? We've got the Jupiter and the Pluto midpoint and the Salacia. We've got Salacia, feminine goddess energy, like Neptune, goddess of the ocean, confusion, right? Illusions, delusions, maybe too idealistic even. The trickery kind of like energy. We liken this to Pisces energy. So it can be public figures, can be judges for sure, because it's at 9 degrees. But this is at 7. So with 2 other objects in fire at 6, these are still strong and they're drawn in, but I'm not going to address them too much here. Remember, the nodes last week were sitting at 3, right? Now the nodes are sitting at 2. They made a move. 2 degrees is money and banking. This is a strong theme this week. Building for the long-term financial tangible security. That's this week. It's a running theme this week. Libra energy, negotiations, right? She's at 22. This is the degree of Capricorn. What are we building for the long term? Vesta is that flame. This is how we kind of stand out. It's a uniqueness, while at the same time, it's more about making sure being fair and equal is done and that it's held. This is Vesta can be very individualistic. So very individualistic in partnerships. If they're based on equality, of course, lawyers and justice, the judicial system, lady liberty, so the law, right? So that flame is there for that reason. It's prominent, but it's the Capricorn degree. Someone who's in charge, a boss energy, getting stuff done, making sure that we're set up for success. And regulations and rules are part of that. Big time Capricorn, regulations and rules. So 2 degrees makes us think banking. And we see Humea in Scorpio here. This was here last week. Shared values, insurance money. I think I included the chart at the end of last week's video, but there was so much in that video. This energy was there. I know I had an extra chart made up for it. I wanted you guys to see this because this is also about our shared values. And when we have shared values with all this energy, especially partnerships, it's like we share this value. This is important to us. We bond over this. You follow? The problem was that Black Moon Lilith was kind of going in and out. And so for this week, she does leave Scorpio and she goes into Libra. All right. That is what the Black Moon Lilith will be doing this week. She goes into Libra in energy. And that means that she can kind of snarl things. She can kind of, mess things up a little bit, or she can kind of, put a monkey wrench into something where it's like, what the hell? We had a deal and now all of a sudden we don't. I'm still very optimistic because Scorpio does not give up the good fight. It's willing to fight for those things that it's dedicated to, that it's very important. The only thing that worries me about Scorpio energy is fanaticism. It has the ability to want to fight for something, to even die for it, to kill for it, right? The warrior. But it's typical for it to do it, as long as it does, and I'm not approving of killing by any means. Fighting, arguing, debating, that's one thing. But the thing with the extreme in Scorpio, when you think crusades, like killing in the name of God, yeah, that's Scorpio energy. That's why we're like, that's a little too much. We're going too far on this. So that's the thing there that concerns me. And of course, I think of the Middle East just because of their current affairs. And with that said, for this week, we start off. I talked about the Mercury at 6. I told you about Black Moon Lilith. Okay. Mercury at 6, Black Moon Lilith goes backwards out of Scorpio. Insurance money's Scorpio, our shared interests, shared values, the earth and our natural resources, fighting over turf, basically. Right? Absolutely. And then Mars is where we take actions. So it's part of that beautiful fire trine that still exists. And that's on Monday, even on Tuesday and Wednesday, because Mercury moves really slow this week. It's moving at a snail's pace. By the end of the week, meaning by Monday, 7 days' time, Mercury gets here. She gets right here, 10 degrees, and that's it. So here we are. Mercury only moving 4 degrees because she just went direct. So that fire trine still very much prevalent, and Jupiter very much a big deal still, because it's Mercury in Saggy, and that's Jupiter, and Jupiter is retrograding. All right. It's been retrograding since October. Now it's at 15 degrees. Last week it was at 16. So now, even though I said, the nodes moved away from the number 3, which is news and talking in our mind, well, shit. Now Jupiter's there. Jupiter and Pan, Pan. Pan can strike panic and fear into the public. So keep that in mind because it's conjunct Jupiter, and Jupiter can be public figures, especially those who love to have their TikToks, their tweets, their whatever it is they do, wherever they're doing their socials at, flaming up, igniting flames, getting the public riled up unnecessarily, basically. So just keep that in mind because Pan is conjunct Jupiter, and Jupiter adds to things. It can blow things out of proportions. It can add to something. It's retrograding with Pan. Pan, the son of Hermes. The son of Hermes. Pan is not wise like Hermes. Pan is not legit information like Hermes. Pan is definitely like a sibling to Mercury, a trickster. You follow? So we're just making sure that we're aware of that and we don't share something out until we've watched the whole video or checked some sources because, in this day and age, we got enough going against us as it is with air and everything moving so damn fast and wanting to be first to let others know about something. So that takes us to Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday and Wednesday sets up a really, it's a prominent trine in the water. I pointed out Scorpio energy already. I showed you Juno at 14. Juno at 14, Estrella, I'm a pit bull. I don't give up at 18, right? So this strong air trine, water trine was present last week. And here it is again. It's not going to move because it's Sirius, but the moon joins Sirius, and the moon is the public. It is people, it's home, it's family, it's women. Sirius is also women, divine mother goddess energy. Like you don't mess with Sirius energy, okay? It's very, very powerful, right? Juno and Scorpio and Estrella, the moon and Sirius, mother divine goddess energy. And then Saturn. You see this down here in Pisces, right? Saturn, slow mover, moving direct. It's in Pisces, but it's at 13. So the water trine was all last week, grand water trine all last week and all this week, because these are all pretty slow movers. Only problem is that, like last week, this Nessa is here at 17. Nessa's can be about revenge, which concerns me because it's public figures, political figures, people who are performers, performances, illusions, delusions, manipulation. It's an act. This can be prisons, healthcare systems, hospitals, doctors. Now, this doesn't mean that all of them are about revenge. Don't get me wrong, okay? It's just for us to understand the inclinations and the possibilities at this particular degree. And I will also add to this, this Nessa has been at this 17 for months. I mean, since it's been at 18, 17 degrees since the spring of 2024. So this is not new that Nessa's here, but Saturn at these degrees, creating this nice, strong water trine is powerful and positive, I think, because it's about the long-term goals. It can be a political agenda, right? Regardless of what party you follow or don't follow, it can be a political agenda. Pisces is about sound, but it is also about unity and understanding and possibly even forgiveness. What are we building for the long term? The justice system, our values, the lawyers, the people in Congress. That's a big story, right? It began last week because their deadline was today, I think, or Friday last week. And I said there might be that thing. But this week, because Saturn and Juno and Estrella are trining, are in this trine energy with the nodes at 2 degrees. That's important because that's a south node at 2, but the north node is also at 2, Aries. But remember, 2 is the Venus degree. It's desires, it's love, it's money, how I receive, but it's also Venus, feminine. Over here, we come to Thursday, and Uranus is part of the picture now. Okay. For this week, Uranus was riding at 24, right? This week, last week. It's not a fast mover. 24 would have been a closure and an ending of some sort. At 24, that could be a public figure, right? That could have been, think Pisces, right? A belief, a religion, a spirituality, understanding and unity. Uranus is very much about I'm a revolutionary. I'm very independent and I'm stubborn as hell. Uranus and Taurus can be quite wicked. All right. Here's the deal. Uranus moves. On Thursday, it takes 20, goes to 23 degrees. This is the Uranus degree. So Uranus, other than being about independence, establishing my independence, but my independent rights, me being recognized as a unique individual, a unique being, all about originality and authenticity. And we shouldn't all be a freaking cookie cutter, right? It's about diversity. Uranus loves different, exciting, new. It can be kind of on the short lived side. It's a really fast mover, typically, like energetically. It's a lightning bolt. Okay. It's like electricity flowing through your wall, right? It's powerful. It's shocking, even. The degree is the Uranus degree. This is all the Uranus keywords you can think of. That's this degree. So, shocks and surprises, group energy, but also individual energy, individual power in a lot of different ways, individual power, rebels, rebelling, but it's group energy. It's social causes. Okay. Social causes, humanitarians, the inventor, science and tech and space. So it's Uranus at the Uranus degree. Remember, Aquarius is about global systems. Capricorn is corporations, business, and government. Well, it's a government of the state that you live in. It's the government of the country you live in. But what's Aquarius? It's the map, man, of the globe. Because it's social causes, social safety nets, it's the rights of the individual. So union energy, make sure that your rights, are not trampled upon and that you got a good deal type of thing and that you're working for a living wage or above a living wage. Uranus at 23. There can be some feistiness here, right? I also have central banks written down because, well, we can't ignore central banks, absolutely Aquarius energy, and it's Uranus in Taurus, right? So there might be some news about central banks, central banking in general, and there might be something surprising. Could be the head of some of those banks for sure. There could be positions that are changing for sure. Anytime an administration changes, we have a lot of different faces that come and go. This week, the sun will be at a critical degree of Sagittarius. Now, we have the galactic center at 27. So anytime the sun gets close enough, as soon as the sun's like at 26 on Tuesday, it starts touching in with the galactic center. So we definitely think Supreme Court and judgments. Friday, the sun goes to 0 degrees of Capricorn. The sun is an authority figure, no matter what sign it's in. But then sun gets really serious. No more games, no more showmanship, no more showing, no more fun, no more exaggerations. This is more about let's get down to the business and the nuts and bolts of things. It's time for the adults to talk. Like that's what Capricorn energy is. There's no play involved whatsoever in Capricorn energy. Pluto is here at 0. Sedna is here at 0. Now we go over to the air in the chart. We don't have anything at 0, but we do see the nodes at 2, and the nodes travel backwards, which means they go to 1 and then to 0 degrees. We're in countdown mode. The year is almost over. If we back this up just a smidgen here, Venus will go to 18 degrees by the end of this week, Wednesday, Thursday. Venus has got a strong trine with Jupiter. Strong trine with Jupiter. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're hearing me say Wednesday a lot in this chart, right? So that tells you there's a concentration of multiple events that happen on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So that's a time where there can be stress and tension, and definitely with authority figures. So that would be a boss at your job. That would be with a parent or someone you look up to. Public figures, politicians, musicians, idols, right? People that were like, ooh, I love them. We don't even know them. We don't even know them, right? We just follow them or whatever the hell, or we like their music, or we love how they act, right? So that's more like a fantasy type of a person that you look up to, a dreamy kind of, I don't know the right word, but it's creative energy. I want everybody to keep in mind that as we're counting down the nodes moving into the next signs, we're keeping in mind that as that node, not this week, but the following week, that's where we'll begin. The node will get to 1 degrees next week, which means it's trining Sedna and trining Pluto. You see, as the node gets to 1 and 0 degrees of Libra, remember, this is an Aquarius. Let's go like that. Pluto's in Aquarius. This will be in Libra. And this is in Gemini, between 0 and 1 degrees. So there will be another grand air trine, and I have a red trine in there. It doesn't have to be bad, but it will be intense, especially for those of you that have matching degrees at all 3 angles. Okay, it will be intense. It's a trine. Sedna is intense, the wounds of the past. And so is Pluto, intense, the wounds of the past. Pluto absolutely is about making changes. Sedna is feminine energy. There are wounds there. She might not necessarily be angry. Maybe anger isn't the right word, but she's this goddess of the ocean type energy, Inuit goddess of the icy waters, and she can mess things up. If she is not recognized and acknowledged and understood and respected, she can make trouble. So anytime that mixes with the Pluto of we're making changes, and we can make changes in the material and the tangible because it's Pluto, right? Emotions and the past and the history and bonds, right? We say Pluto is change. It rules Scorpio. So sometimes we talk about it as in death. It can be a metaphorical death. It can be a real ending, a death. And then there's that South Node, which brings a release, an absolute release, right? or the old ways are gone and over with finally, that type of a release. So we'll pick back up on this next week and probably spend more time on that. All right, that's it. It's a wrap. Thank you for your time. I always appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.